You're being recorded. Thank you for coming this evening. We have time for privilege of the floor now. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Sir. And please tell us your name.
Ken Miller.
Hi, Ken.
I just have a couple things I'd like to ask of the commission. Number one would be that as you talk about the public hearing, to push it out enough so that people that are super busy like the farmers have a good amount of time to read it over, try to digest it, maybe even send in a question or two, but just so that it isn't, you know, a week or two from now, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. That's one thing I'd like to ask. Number two, I'd like to. I haven't seen it lately, but I would like to ask this commission to make sure that in the draft, there is a note of grandfathered people, I guess, landowners, whatever, that so they understand that, okay, it's not, you don't have to change your house, you don't have to change it, you don't have to change that. So everybody, and I hope that the farmers will be included in that. We have barns and houses and land, okay, that would be nice if it was in there. And the third thing is, I'm wondering and asked someone on the town board, they suggested I could come here and ask that the draft be sent to Farm Bureau and Ag and Markets for their comments on it, so that farmers that maybe missed something or didn't think about this, didn't think about that, they're usually the gurus on some of this stuff, and get their feedback, if you would. That's all I had tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
You're welcome.
We will talk tonight about I hope that we're going to talk tonight about when we're going to set the public hearings. Grant, things that are.
I couldn't understand.
Sorry. We are going to talk tonight about when the meetings will be set. Grant, things that are as they are, there's no need to change. So grandfathering is in there. I think I can ask Nan, I hope to explain that in a few minutes just to make sure that you understand that. And I will also ask Nan about the Farm Bureau and Ag and Markets, if that's something for the board to do or for us to do. Is there someone else who would like to speak to this evening? No? Anyone online? No? In that case, Nan or anyone on the committee, would you like to respond to those questions I just asked? Tim?
Yeah, Jean, I'll just confirm that the town board does plan on submitting the draft law to Ag and Markets for its review, which is standard procedure. And we've been in discussion with Nan about that.
Okay, thank you. And Nan, could you explain, I just don't have the law right in front of me. Could you explain the grandfathering to make clear what's there?
Yes, so the grandfathering is really the Article 9, which is the non-conforming uses and structures chapter. And it basically says that any lot, building, structure, or use of the premises existing at the time of enactment of this local law may be continued, even though the lot, building, structure, or use of the premises does not conform to the provisions of such local law. That's the legalese part of it. We could add a sentence to the reader's aid box that says that, you know, in a more simpler way, but that absolutely is in there already. And that is, you know, clearly how zoning works is that, you know, anything that's existing now, it can stay that way, and the law doesn't really affect those. So it's only for new uses and new lots from here on forward.
Right. If you change your use or you alter your structure, it then comes under.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So, we could look at adding another sentence, in the reader's aid box, which we have a lot of reader aid boxes throughout the whole zoning law to explain those kinds of things. So if the zoning commission wants to add, we can look at that later. We certainly could add another sentence to hit the nail over the head on that one.
Thank you. Okay, we have the approval of the minutes of January 17th. I did add today because Michelle had brought it to my attention and I finally had time to go and listen to the Zoom. I added
change in the use table
right,
to reflect the allow multiple family.
exactly. Yeah, I had it, it wasn't as clear. So now it says, however, we did discuss and decided to split the use table on page 39 into 2 lines regarding multifamily residences of 4 or fewer. And that was Padulka and Knuth, amended by Knuth accepted, so that one line would address multifamily buildings of 4 units or fewer would be permitted as right across the town. That was approved, and then Bill tried to change it back to permitted, and that failed. So that's in there. So with that,
Change it to ASPR.
yes. Yeah, exactly. So with that, would anyone like to move the minutes?
I read them, I'll move.
Thank you. And Barb? All in favor? Aye. That's approved. Thank you. Tim, you have a report?
Very minimal report. At the last town business meeting, we passed the revised code enforcement law, which is basically a revision of our last 2013 law, brought up to date with new state regulations. We're looking forward to working with you to facilitate a public hearing when you deem it is time to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Tim, I wanted to ask you a question, because I'm not sure if everyone knows that the town has, I think, decided to build a new highway building at the same location, essentially, is that correct?
Yes, we did. We hired an engineering firm to do a feasibility study for 3 different locations last year, about 1.5 years ago now, maybe 2 years already. And they determined that all 3 sites that we had were feasible. The town board considered this heavily about 1 year ago now, and we decided that it would be prudent to redevelop the current town highway site. In contrast to the land we own over by the quarry and an undetermined open piece of land. And so we actually now just received bids this week for a new RFP, from a new RFP to move forward with the next phase, which will be design and construction of the highway barn. So we're very excited about that. We'll be considering those bids very, very soon.
Thank you. I thought people here and people listening might be interested to know that if they didn't know. So the agenda this evening is essentially to review and agreed upon, accept this draft version that we have been working on, and of the preliminary report, which includes this draft of the zoning law, and to go over what we would have to do to have the public hearings and when, and the materials that have to be provided. So with that, we went through it at the last meeting and made some changes. We then all read the report, which is it sort of explains how this came to be, what the town board did, who they appointed, the time of that, the number of meetings we've had, the public meetings we've had, et cetera, and includes the report. And then the final version of that will then also include our final resolution to the board and some other things that we just haven't gotten to yet. And we won't get to until we have this preliminary, this draft, this public hearing on the draft version. So, Nan, would you like to put up the report and then we can look at that? Because as a group, we have not really looked at in public, looked at the report before. Why don't you get a chair?
Well, yes, I can't hear so well, I'm off to the side.
Oh, okay.
I've got to get my boat on the range.
Bruce?
Stuff on the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped right over there. Is there something you'd like to add?
Yeah, the review board had a meeting and I couldn't inform them as to whether we answered all the questions that we gave up. So we might need to look at those.
This was a while back.
Yeah, yeah. Because I told them I was sure we answered some of them, but I wasn't totally sure on all of them.
I think we did, but I will go over that and get in touch with the review board.
Here's the, I can get, that's one of the questions they said that they did.
Okay. I will be in touch. Okay, so Nan. I can't see you for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh,
There, okay,
I'm here.
good. So let's just go through this and you can tell us places where anyone has made a comment that we might want to look at.
Well, in the report, I think that, I think that, there were various edits, little edits, and then, I'm not real sure there was anything big that's left to be discussed. I don't, I think I don't know if you want to go through page by page or just kind of skim through it. I think that, everyone had a chance to comment on it and I incorporated everybody's comments. So I don't really know. I don't know exactly what you'd like, how you'd like me to approach this. Because I don't think there are any decisions left to make on it.
I don't think so either, but Ernie, what do you say?
I just think because the public doesn't have a clue as to what this document is or why or anything else, that if we could just give a quick basis of why it exists, and then maybe just run down through the list of the table of contents and quickly
Sure.
what these are. I mean, it's basically kind of a pro forma document to satisfy the requirements of the law. There's nothing in this document that's part of the regulation in any way, shape, or form. Correct.
So the report, so the product of the zoning commission is actually this report. The draft zoning law that you may recommend is a part of this report, but this report is actually what is the subject of the hearing. And this is what eventually, when you fine tune it after the hearing, this is what gets submitted to the town board. And I wouldn't call it pro forma in the sense that this is completely developed to represent the process that you all have gone through. There are certain required elements, maybe that would be a better word, that for those that are watching or listening, that the required elements of the report are to basically talk about the kind of the formation and the work of the zoning commission, what steps the zoning commission took to study and evaluate the town, how they had public participation and what role public participation played in the crafting of the zoning. And so this big section in here talks about all of the the public meetings that you had and the Zoom and, the public information sessions. The formulation of the draft zoning law kind of took it from our 6 months of the zoning commission work where we talked about the philosophy behind the comprehensive plan and what you were trying to accomplish. And then the steps that you took from the very first draft that I provided you as a starting point for kind of memorializing that philosophy. And the changes that have gone, that the draft has gone through to where it is now. This section in here on, let me just flip down there because it's that big long table. I think this is a really important part because we have always been working off of the comprehensive plan of the town as kind of the underpinning of what we're trying to do with the zoning. And so this chart conveys, even though it's a long chart, it still conveys the topics that were established in the comprehensive plan. And then a very short little description of what section in the zoning are highlights to show how we've actually addressed those needs in the community. So this table, again, even though it's quite a few pages, I think really hits home at the tie between the comprehensive plan and the topic that in the policy statements that the comprehensive plan were directing the town to move towards and how we actually did that. So I think this table is a really important part. Everything before this table is really very detailed of the summary and a highlighting of how the zoning commission did your work and what the steps were that you took. And then after the table, we will add in, I haven't yet, just because it makes it a very long document. This will be a very long document when we add in the full text of the zoning that you will be recommending. So the hearing is actually on the whole document, not just on the draft zoning that you're recommending. So people can comment on any of the things that we, anything that we have in this table of contents. Whoops, where did it go? There. So no, that doesn't mean that you can't, if you wanted to, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. If someone says, I don't want to, look through the whole thing, I just want to read the zoning. Can you attach to, can you have posted on the website just the draft zoning? I don't think there's a harm in doing that. But legally, this is the document that's going to be moving forward.
Thank you. I think that is a good explanation. Also, right before the table, there's number 3, which talks about major changes that were incorporated into version 2 of the draft after our first set of meetings. And I think that's very important for the public to look at as well.
Yes, absolutely. There have been a lot of changes and they've been, this is a highlight, not every last little line that's been changed, but I think this is a good highlight of that.
Can I just make a comment while we're on that page? At the top of page 13, the title for that section, changes made. Commissions is plural. I believe it should be singular.
I didn't hear quite what you said, Barb, other than something in this title.
Commissions is plural, and I believe it should be singular.
Oh,
I think it should be possessive.
Well, it could be that. It could be commission proceedings, or it could be commissions apostrophe S proceedings, however you'd like to do it.
That looks fine. Thank you.
yeah. If this, yeah, whatever way. And and I think that we need to change this January date to February, right? Because this is the,
Yeah.
this, by the time this gets out, it'll be February.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. Thank you. And Bruce?
I apologize, but I do have a few things in from like page 1 to about page 12, are just simple changes that I think were left out. And some of it, like page 3, former members of zoning commission
Mhm.
included, Jonathan Comstock, not on there.
Well, let me, before you go on, I did have him on there, but Bill sent me an email saying he wasn't ever really part of it, so I took him off.
I think he never was seated. He,
Voted in, but I believe in number 1, it said.
Yeah, I took him off, and I took him off here, and I took him off in the description of,
No big deal. That's
a
fine.
description.
I'll just say, I saw the email discussion about that, and Bill Podolka was actually saying, that, as a planning board member, maybe technically he was, but he never
Right.
He never really,
didn't have time to do it.
and that he wouldn't expect to be included as a member, so,
But I will- that
That's-
has been completed.
yeah, okay.
Okay, page 5, under the April 6th, 2021. Is
Uh-huh.
this correct where it says, the town board confirms zoning commission appointments, added planning board members, Shell Brown, Barber Canoe, Vale War, with the previous planning board appointees completed at 7, shouldn't that be the previous
Commission,
commission? Yeah,
yes, you're right. That should be the previous zoning commission appointments.
okay. It's worthwhile.
Thank you.
Uh, And on page 6, under the July 14th part. 2021. Okay, that's where I got screwed up, because that's where Jonathan Comstock was.
Right, and then
Okay.
he got taken out.
Then the total number of planning board members would change. Okay.
Right.
It should have been 4 instead of 6 original, but I'll look at that later. And on the bottom of that page 6, that will split the zoning commission in response to members of the community suggested to the zoning commission that additional members be added due to resignation of some commission members, stated that it was a town board decision for the zoning commission members. So not in, I believe I asked if we should do that, and I believe Ernie also did.
We did, and then we discussed it at a meeting and we voted.
Okay. Why'd you say that then? Page 7. Yeah, on page 7, number 3, where it comes up with the 110 participants online.
Uh-huh,
There was 110 participants online, so
Nan said that she had kept a record.
So, whoops. You're talking about this sentence here.
Yes.
monitoring, wait a second.
Right.
Yeah, I'd have to go back. I must have gotten that off of my notes. I don't remember where, I remember if that was one I had, Jean, or that you had.
I remember that we had 64, because I had the pieces of paper. And you said that you had recorded how many people were were online. So what I don't know is if that's a total number, like 64 and 46, getting to 110,
Mhm.
which it might be, or if that was 110, but I didn't have that in my notes and you said you did.
I'll have to go back to my notes and look that up. I don't recall offhand. I've highlighted that, and I will go back. I mean, while you're talking about other things, I'll look through my notes. I remember I thought it was in the 70s, so I don't think it's 60. There were way more than 30 or 40 people there. I'll have to look.
Okay. Yes,
Gene, it says Brookdale Firehouse. I would say fire hall.
is that,
It's right above the sentence above.
okay, when Nan comes back, you will note that. Mark just said
She
that
got
should
it.
say Brookdale Fire Hall rather than Firehouse.
Yeah.
That's
Yep,
it.
I got it.
Okay,
All right, so we'll come back and review this number here.
okay,
What's next, Bruce?
Page 8. Nothing there, hold on. Go to page 10, nothing huge. This has changed some since I went back to the first one, so.
right, because we had we all made changes online.
Yeah, so,
Corrections.
so yeah, that's good, that's why I started on that. Page 14,
Okay.
so that's about it.
I didn't hear what that, is there a change?
No,
That's good.
no, we're good. Okay, so, Nan is looking at her notes and meanwhile, we will just sing. Well. Is there anything else in this that anyone else had noted? Because I think the rest of us all made our little notes online.
Yeah, I'll just comment that I checked and it looked like Nan had made all of the changes that I had suggested, so in this latest version.
Yeah, me too. Thanks.
I just have to go back up here and look at, see what that date was, because my notes are all organized by date. So this was December 5th. Okay.
Well, it could have been either December 3rd or December 5th. Let me. The in-person, 64 members of the public attended the in-person meeting and blank in the online meeting. So it's the online meeting was, I think, the 5th, right?
Yeah, and I don't know, Mark, if you, when you go back and look at the recordings, does the recordings record how many people were online?
I might be able to see that in the chat. I don't know. I could
Can you go to
see.
the online thing now, or is that would be in your emails?
It's like, there's,
Well,
let's see, we have it archived in here and
okay,
I hate to do it now because it'll,
yes,
Mess
don't mess
up
it up. We'll figure it out. Okay, so we'll meanwhile look at that. It's the only thing that we've come up with so far that we have a question about. Is there anything else further on? And Nan, could you just continue to scroll so we can see what else we're looking at?
Yep. Yep, so,
So that then lists who we consulted with.
yep,
That, things that we did online, like we created the 215 questions and answers, after we didn't create the questions. We did the quick guide to the draft zoning law. We updated version 1 and made version 2. We, the public meetings that we had and when they were. There's a line in there that needs to be filled in number 11 on that page.
yeah, well, I don't know when that is yet.
Okay, good. So that's what we figure out tonight.
Yes,
Okay, go further along. And then prepare the final zoning thing. So as a preliminary report, this will be what it will actually look like, but some of the things we don't have dates for yet. Like, when are we going to prepare the final report? We don't know yet.
right,
Right. And then there are descriptions of the drafts and the maps. We also have to include a map in this, don't we?
well, that will be part of the draft zoning.
Okay. And I think we should try to also put it up in a larger version so that people will be able to see it. Because I know in the document itself, it can look really small for some people. And then it includes, it includes in this, continue. What changes were made in mapping, et cetera. Changes made during the course of the commission proceedings.
Bruce says so.
Bruce?
Can I go back to one page real quick?
Sure.
On the, actually, page 4, the background, where we say that, you know, subsequent to the work of the land use and economic task force form and well, should we list where the task force report that we've seen, or what the number of it is, so that the public would say, look at that? No. Just saying, since we mentioned the task force.
Sure, we can put a link in to it. It's on the website. So let's see if we can put in a link from that to the.
So are you talking about this sentence here?
I guess it would be the executive report.
The executive report? Yes.
So you want,
You can
you
look.
want, like in a parentheses, that this report is available on the town's website or what?
Or a link to the town website.
Yeah, or link to it, so that
So perhaps under executive report, you could put the link in.
there's a lot of task force report that tells us what we should be doing and none of the work.
Yeah, I can put I have to make a note here to put a link in.
Okay. Okay, and then let's go back down to, I think we're about 2/3 of the way through. Yep. This is. So this is topics that were established as important in the comprehensive plan, and those notes that Nan spoke about at the very beginning. This is about 4 pages of those. So that you can see what we were looking at in the comprehensive plan, and then what's in the draft law and where they are. Oh, actually, I'm wrong. It's more like 6 pages, isn't it?
Yes, it's quite long.
My, we were thorough. And then,
Yeah, and then the draft zoning would come next,
that's where the zoning text will go in.
right? So then, right now, I don't, have all of that in there, but then at the end, there were these other recommendations that, that you have kind of collected to send over to the town board.
Right, so these were things that as they came across, as we were doing things, we said, well, there already is a law about that. So if zoning is passed, the board may want to go back and look at that law and either change it or delete it or whatever, say it's included in the zoning law, whatever you need to do. But these are things that, like the adult use law, the mobile home park law, the road classification law, and our explanations. The only thing I would say about this part, Nan, is it's in a different font. You may want to make sure the font is all the same.
Oh, okay, yep. All right, I'll fix that.
Okay, and as you go through that. Not that I would think that will make it invalid, but what the heck. And, the site plan review law, all those things that sort of come over. And then there are other issues to refer to the town board, which is like the natural resources inventory and a couple of other things that we talk about. At some point, those will probably be changed and they should be referred to. And then we have the resolution that once we're finished with this,
Yeah, so I think for the preliminary, I probably should add in here, so this will be blank because you were not going to be passing. Oh, wait. So I guess what we could do, no, it would really be adopting the final report, not the preliminary report, but
tonight, I hope that we will get to the point where we will adopt a resolution to accept the final report and to move us on. The preliminary. report.
preliminary report. Okay, so so that we can add in the resolution adopting this preliminary report, and then the final report would have a final resolution. The final resolution is the one that matters.
Right, exactly. Yep. Moving along.
All right, so you will have a resolution, so we'll just add that in after you get it done tonight.
Okay.
And then there's,
Do we need a resolution to adopt the preliminary report?
Yes, I've written one. Because it's the formality of this that we did to the board. And here's a copy of it in case you don't have it.
and Jean, that draft was to accept the preliminary report and schedule a hearing, right?
Yes. And then there's
So-
a appendix that has a bunch of supporting materials. So you want to
Yes.
on that, Dan?
No, I just was gonna say the same thing. It's just got, resolutions related to the zoning, work that were really just literally taken from town minutes, in whole. So I know that there were a couple comments here and there about wording in here, but these were what
Okay.
they were.
I used to do this for a living, so. So I'm real good at writing resolutions. It's a thing. So, okay.
So then there's the other supporting information. We included a copy of the invitation letter that was mailed for our first set of December public meetings, just to show that, what it was that we mailed. And then I think that's it.
Okay, great.
While you're still there though, Nan, the section that we just talked about the resolution that you're gonna add. Can you change the title of that instead of a public hearing to public hearings?
Yes.
Adopting this preliminary report and schedule public hearings.
So,
Plural.
Okay,
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, because we're having two.
okay.
Okay.
So I think then I got a little bit of cleanup work to do, the fonts and adding the link to the executive report and to find those minutes of,
Right. But with all that, I mean, the question that we have before us is, let's figure out when we would, would people pass this tonight and go to public hearing? And let's not say when the public hearing is gonna be at this moment, I just, before I move along.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 No.
Michelle?
I couldn't hear what you said, Jean. Could you repeat that?
Without saying the date of the public hearings, would you pass a resolution tonight to pass the report and to move it to public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, so we have enough to move forward then. And, because I will do that as well. And
so do you want this cover to read tonight's meeting? Or a
Yeah,
different date?
I think it should be tonight's meeting. What do people think?
Well, it says
Yeah, if we're approving it for tonight, that this is it, yeah, I'd say, yeah.
Okay, so then that would be January.
31st. Right.
Bruce, are you commenting on the resolution?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think we're
We're
there.
not there yet. Okay,
Hold your comment.
Okay.
okay, so that's the report done. And last week we approved, or we got to the point where we said we were happy with what was in the, we had made changes all the way through the draft of the law, which would be what we said as of last week and is in there, because I don't think there are any further changes, right, Nan?
From last meeting,
Right,
there were a few changes to the zoning. Do you want to go over those?
I would.
Okay, so let me. Hold on, let me just make sure that I got this in the,
They were mostly, typographical whatnots, as I recall.
Well, there was that stuff that Ernie brought up, and then I brought up a few things about the multifamily that needed to be, I mean, they're fairly minor, not policy, but they needed to be changed.
Right.
And I checked and it looked like Nan had made those changes, so.
yeah, so we can just flip through this quickly. Whoops, did I just mess that up? Hold on.
Yeah, you quit screen sharing. There you
Oh,
go.
sorry.
That's okay.
I was trying to get to that button. So just little things like capitalizing this because that was how it was written in the definitions.
Right, okay.
Because we changed, since we went,
Can you
we-
make that bigger on your screen?
oh, yep. And I don't remember whose comments these changes came from, but these were all precipitated by comments that had been emailed on the draft from the last meeting. So it's just tidying up. I think there was a question. I did change this. Originally, we had a minimum lot size for commercial uses as established and shall be sized and cited as to meet all Tompkins County requirements. I think it was Ernie that commented that there were no such requirements for commercial, so that is true. So the lot size is 1 acre and it's really as is established as per table 2 below. So that's why I changed that statement.
Thank you. Yeah, and we were looking at this on the web, on email.
They were just, highlighting these words. And now my my screen is not very good so that I can get to the buttons here.
Well, you can make it smaller if you need to. This is where that,
So just little things, little typos.
yep. In this reader's aid box. there-
Yeah, this was the one that Ernie pointed out that the density bonus for the using the New York State stretch code at 20% was too much, so you all discussed changing it to 10%, so we changed all of these in here.
Okay. Everyone happy with that? Good.
Just kind of today, the town of Dryden has adopted the stretch code as across the board. For you.
I did not.
Little
Okay.
typo.
Yeah.
Spacing,
Wait, Nan?
Wait,
Nan?
yes,
Go back to the reader's aid box that you were just on. And just below that, number 2, green energy incentives,
Oh, right here.
that should be density bonus of 10%.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you.
And what about in number 3? Is that good?
Yeah, that
That one's
I thought
fine.
stayed, because that was
Right.
solar and other stuff.
Okay.
Good.
Okay,
Okay, so then we had typo,
right,
spacing, typo, typo, I was spacing between stream bank,
right,
spacing, numbering. This one was pointed out, I think Michelle pointed out that this sentence didn't make any sense and didn't know what it referred to, and I didn't either. So I think that was, I took that out because it didn't seem, what we want to say is all the procedures and requirements of the solar siting law shall be met. I don't think there was anything else to really say there, so I took that sentence out.
What does that sentence say, just that we can't read it?
Oh, sorry. It says, however, the following shall also regulate the siting of solar energy facilities, but we don't have anything that follows it. It really was just referring to the solar siting law that was local law 3 of 2021.
Fine.
And then the battery law still has not been adopted, correct?
Correct.
So, one of the things that I was thinking of for this statement here, and I know that does look awfully small. Let me see if I can just make this a little bigger. It might say all procedures and requirements of the battery energy storage system siting law as may be adopted by the town. Because we don't, this just kind of leaves a hole if we leave it like that.
right.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Is everyone else happy with that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Good? You got it,
that's
Michelle?
good.
Thank you.
I agree.
Okay. Are you guys reviewing that now? Is that where it is?
Almost. We're waiting for comments from one member of the planning board.
Oh, okay,
Then we'll be reviewing it. So,
okay,
it's imminent. Yes.
okay,
And then you remember we changed density to development units and development density. So there were, I think Ernie added that one in. And then at the last meeting, you changed the multifamily so that a multifamily structure that is 4 units or smaller is a permitted use without planning board review.
great,
And so that we had to change this because that didn't reflect those, that was the language that reflected that change. We added that into the use table, but these changes, so it says, however, multifamily structures having 4 units or fewer are exempt from site plan review, and then took this out because it's no longer part of it
okay, great. And renumbered, yay,
and renumbered.
okay,
Yeah, sometimes there's like this Microsoft Word gremlin, and every time you open the darn thing up, the numbers change, but hopefully we got it right this time.
Wow.
yeah. I know Bill Gates, but it just seems wrong, so I won't do that. Yeah,
Comma. Authorization of instead of to. Exemptions, again, this is memorializing the townhouse and multifamily structures having 4 units or fewer as exempted from site plan review. Changing the P down to lowercase. Curb cuts instead of curb cut. Minor wording change. The review board shall conduct site plan application reviews and special use permit applications concurrently using the same submission. Was there a change to that one that you wanted?
Um. No, not for me.
Okay, I thought I heard chatter in the background. I couldn't
No,
couldn't tell.
it's the audience that's chattering.
Oh, okay, gotcha. There was a period missing. Well, that was it.
So I do have, a change I'd like to offer, Article 9. Page 120. To the reader's aid box, I'd like to propose adding a sentence to be the second last sentence that would read, any lawful lot, building structure, or use of premises existing when this law is enacted may be continued even though those do not conform to the provisions of the law.
I don't know if I got quite all of that.
Can you repeat that?
I think so. Any lawful lot, building structure, or use of premises that exist when this localized past may be continued even if they don't conform to the provisions of the law.
Exist prior to the issuance of this law.
Yeah, I was trying to make it not legal.
Oh, okay.
Because, hey, this or that, the reason thing about, hard not to be legal.
Okay, so
Did I get this right?
Read it to us, please.
Any lawful lot, building, structure, or use of premises existing when this local law was passed may continue even if they don't comply with this law.
I think that's fine for a reader's aid box.
If they may continue to be grandfathered.
and then it says,
Grandfathering is in the next sentence. The next sentence reads, this section details how these lots, buildings, or uses can be continued, parentheses, commonly known as quote grandfather. But
Good.
this just
I
clarifies
have
what Mr. Miller was making in his comments, so, you know, any confusion that's out there, we'd like to clarify through the reader's aid box.
thank you, Michelle.
My only question is, are you saying building structures or building comma structure?
It should be lawful, it should be the same, lawful lot, comma, building, comma, structure, comma, or use.
Okay, great. That's what she has.
Yes.
Thank you, Barb. Yes, and I think that does respond to Mr. Miller. And makes it clearer for people.
Yes.
Good.
Anything else?
Nope,
So. We're done with that. I was just gonna say, if we have time, maybe you could read those questions and you can verify whether we answered them or not. and everything.
sure. You can do that. But I just put it away so I can get it out again.
Do you think I gave you the right question? I would have given it, I thought Fred probably sent it to you. but-
Nope, he didn't. Okay, so the general discussions were. Article 5, that the zoning commission asked the review board to review needs thorough review and editing whenever possible. Decisions by the review board are made based on assessing whether objective criteria have been met by the applicant. Article 5 was noted as particularly lacking in specific definitions and reference resources upon which the review board could assess the applicants having met zoning law criteria. A couple of examples of vague or subjective criteria include scenic views and design traditions of the town of Caroline. Some of those phrases are still in there, some of them are defined now.
Yeah, my recollection was that we spent quite a lot of time going through the sections that pertain to, standards and guidelines.
Yeah, it's a bit, right, try to make it very clear which ones are standard. and
Right.
lines.
And what they mean, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we addressed that.
Keeping the site plan law as a separate local law versus incorporating into zoning law. The pros and cons of this are discussed. If the site plan does not remain as a separate local law, can there be severability clause within the zoning law to allow reversion to at least the current site plan law? This would allow for no lapse of site plan law coverage should the zoning law be enacted and then repealed. I guess I think that that's something for, I don't know how to do that. And I think that's something for the town board to take up.
Yeah, I think that's in the town board. I mean, we include in our preliminary report a recommendation about how to handle the current site plan review law and the subdivision law for that matter. But I don't think that's the commission's charge to figure out if then scenarios, because we don't even know if the town board is gonna pass this thing.
Right.
So, I mean, there's all sorts of hypotheticals that could exist, and then we have a 500-page report.
Okay, Article 6, again, it's the design traditions of the town, which we've already discussed. Stating exemptions leaves ambiguity because exemptions are stated, and then section 6.2C states applicability. What happens when something comes forward that is not mentioned in either B or C? I think that we also tightened that up substantially. B, gross floor area of 3,000 square feet as the minimum required for SPR is acceptable. I don't actually remember if that's what we left.
Came up with whatever we came up with.
Right. That would be in section 6. While someone's looking at that, CAFOs, it says, Don noted that a letter from New York State Ag and Market should be in the files, and when the initial site plan local law was drafted and enacted, this correspondence should be provided from the town files to the zoning commission. I think we've got CAFOs absolutely straight in this.
I think
So-
we did too. We had some discussion.
Yeah.
Research on that. Yeah.
Section 6.3 site plan considerations. This is about suggested delete massing design aesthetics from location arrangement, size, massing design aesthetics, architectural features, and delete overall impact on existing neighborhood character. So this would be in 6.3. So I again think we talked about all of these.
I think we spent a lot of time on that
Yeah.
section.
Yeah,
Section 6, yep, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's a little late at this point for this version to change things substantially.
Well, I think the point is that these are review board comments that had been submitted some time ago.
Right,
And in a much earlier version of the draft, the draft law. I had gone through and pointed out in comments, the various comments that we've received from the review board, during the various comment periods. And that all just got included in the general, multiple discussions at commission meetings that this group had. So, that's not to say that the commission agreed with everything the review board was asking for. But I do believe that we've had a thorough discussion of the issues that they raised.
I agree.
Certainly also that communication, respond to that communication.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty fun. I just didn't want to have to go back on it.
No, I think you can assure them that they, all the issues raised by their concern, but again, apologies if we didn't,
Agree with
agree with anything that the review board suggested.
And I did get a question from someone watching. They weren't clear where these questions came from. So,
From the review board, from the town's review board.
okay,
yes.
thank you.
And then there was a section here about going to a one-step application, and we've done that. Waivers in special circumstances. That it's the responsibility of the applicant to make a formal request and justification for waivers. That's there.
Yeah.
that's been done was about labeling something. The section on the abbreviated SPR process should be written in a way so that the review could be done by simply checking all the boxes on a checklist. In other words, anything requiring ASPR should be simple enough to just go down a list and make sure that certain items are met. Potentially even done by staff, which I think we had that discussion too about how the staff should be doing these things and bringing them.
Right, but we still
Yeah,
recognize it has to go to the review board because the staff cannot.
Right.
respond to all of those things.
okay, but I will get back to him. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that in.
Okay, so where we are now is potential dates for the public hearings. And I had suggested this afternoon, I think January 19th, February 19th and another day. I have since learned that we cannot do February 19th because we can't get the fire hall that day. Anyway, and then I got some dates from Barbara, so I am suggesting, and here is a copy of the two. So keep one in the past. So that's the 22nd, that's the 28th of February, and this is the 22nd of February. And they are pretty similar. So this would be the notice of public hearing that would go out. But so I'm suggesting Wednesday, the 22nd of February, there's no town board meeting that night. That would be one that would be held here and would be a joint Zoom and in-person meeting. And to hold it at 6 o'clock, so it would be a 3-hour meeting from 6 to 9. And then we would have the second one on Tuesday, the 28th of February.
So hang on, just
Sure.
I go back to the 22nd. This says 6:30. Yeah.
I'm giving you the wrong one. That was my old one. Basics. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
22nd.
the 22nd of February, and then also on the 28th of February at 6 o'clock. So if those dates are good, we would then pass this resolution and insert those dates.
Gene, the 22nd is that the third
The
Wednesday
22nd
of the month?
is, no, it's the fourth
The
Wednesday,
fourth Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
because that's 1/8/15/22. Are the Wednesdays in February.
Well, the 22nd is the fourth.
1/8/15 and 22.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I got it. Yep. Thank you.
Yep, okay. I looked at the town board, I looked at the town calendar, and
Yeah.
that seems fine.
Good. Thank you.
So if that is okay, I'm going to insert in here,
I probably won't be here the 22nd, so I'll try to be 28th.
okay? And February 28th. We should have.
Did you want to share that screen? Are you looking at the resolution or the public notice?
I'm looking at the resolution and I can share that. No, I'd have to open it first, wouldn't I? Yes. So. Okay. One. So here it is, and I will share my screen. Share my screen. Okay. Here it is. I have no idea where there are all those yellow marks on there, but
Lots of comments.
such is life. Anyway, so let's just read this and see if this works. So whereas the town board, by resolution, created the zoning commission in February 2021 to examine existing conditions, recommend the boundaries of the zoning districts and appropriate regulations to be enforced therein through a process which encourages and accommodates public input, make a preliminary report, hold public hearings on the preliminary report, and submit a final report to the town board. And whereas they appointed members to the commission in March and July 21, whereas the zoning commission beginning in March 21 and continuing through January 23, conducted commission meetings generally bi-monthly, during which interested parties could speak during privilege of the floor and for which minutes and Zoom recordings were posted. And whereas 6 public informations were held between December 2021 and December 2022, and responses to 215 questions from the public were written and posted on the town's website over a period of 15 months. And whereas the zoning commission utilized the services of a consulting firm hired by the town board to assist its work. And whereas the zoning commission's consultant and the members of the zoning commission have formulated a preliminary report to the board. And whereas the zoning commission has determined that the preliminary report to the board, which contains the draft zoning law, is now ready for public review. Now, therefore, be it resolved pursuant to the requirements of Town Law 266 that the zoning commission shall hold public hearings on, that would be February 22nd and February 28th, 2023, and that these public hearings will be advertised through appropriate public notices posted on the town's official website, and copies of the document shall also be made available for public review and inspection at the Town of Caroline Clerk's office, 2668 Slaterville Road, Slaterville Springs, during regular business hours, that the town clerk is hereby directed to forward the notice to the required agencies, and then there's a vote. So that, I think if we had these on the 22nd and the 28th, that's from that 3 to 4 week period that Mr. Miller spoke about this evening. Those are 3 and 4 weeks out, which I think will give people adequate time to make written comments and to prepare for a public hearing. We can get billboards made and up again and post all of this on the town website. I would think by today's Tuesday, probably by Thursday, by the time we get that done.
So what, just for, so I can put in my notes, Jean, I didn't hear, what were the dates that you were proposing?
February 22nd and 28th.
Got it.
And at those meetings, we would want to have at least 4 members in attendance in the room. And you're
So
saying.
I can attend in person.
And Michelle?
I said I can attend in person, if you need me to.
Great, thank you.
There was some note passing going on, should we, have the note contact of the note?
If you want, please. If you voted against the going draft report, think about when you're going to vote for this and that. Basically.
I can't hear what you're saying, Bruce. Can you speak?
The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Let the record show that a member of the audience handed a private note to one of the commission members during our deliberation. And it could be read into the record if you like.
And so could you read that again?
You voted against it, you should think about what you're gonna do next time they go to the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Get that?
Yep.
Did you hear that, Michelle?
Yeah, I don't understand it. What does this mean?
What I got.
That's what it said.
Okay. For the record, I'm just gonna say I object to notes being passed to members of the board while we're deliberating, but.
I do
members-
too. I think that's an improper procedure. And it has occurred several times during the commission meetings. Over time, I think as my recollection by the same member of the public, and I just want to point out that I think that is very inappropriate to be occurring during the commission hearing. Or commission meeting rather.
And yeah, I would like to say that I feel exactly the same way, and I hope it stops.
I don't know if it's ever happened at a commission meeting, because I've never gotten no commission meeting. This is the first. I know it's happened at town board meetings.
That's happened at commission meetings.
Okay,
It's like the chat
feature
on Zoom.
what do you think?
Guys, let's be the.
Yeah, that's just.
It's not the same thing. I don't believe it's the same thing at all as the chat on Zoom. And by the way, nobody's chatting on Zoom, so.
And everybody sees the chat, Ernie. I think the point is that private messages being transferred by members of the public who are not on the commission to try to influence individual members of the commission is totally inappropriate during a formal commission meeting.
Thank you, Barb.
You're welcome.
Thank you for noticing.
Oh, I noticed a lot. Thanks.
So what I have here is a resolution that I am moving as a motion, which I have read, which tries to explain that we have gotten to this point, and we will now have these public hearings on February 22nd and February 28th. I have moving that. Would someone like to
I
second that?
second.
Thank you. Discussion.
I'd like to speak in favor of it. I think that the commission has worked hard and in a very informed and deliberative way over the past 2 years, following on the heels of an almost 2-year task force that preceded this, and a multi-year work on comprehensive plan that preceded that. So I think there has been a lot of great discussion, considering lots of input from members of the public, and I think it's time to share our fine work with the public and solicit comments at the public hearings that will be scheduled on the 22nd and the 28th.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak? Bruce?
Yes, I'm gonna say that, since we're gonna discuss how this all went down. I will say that we were handed the document, how to implement zoning for the first time by the state of New York. We were told that was our Bible, and that's what we were supposed to follow as a zoning commission. We did not follow it. We did not do a lot of things that were in it. There are some multiple things that happened all the way through. Just for an example, I won't go through the whole ordeal, I'll do that later. But the comprehensive plan, we were given 3 studies. When it got to the negatives in the studies, it was all included, and things just got swept under the freaking carpet and passed down the road. I think we've done a lot of hard work. There's no doubt. There's a lot of things that we could have done a little better as far as not being so overreaching and those types of things.
I don't understand one thing. Are you talking about when you said things swept under the carpet, et cetera? Are you speaking about as the comprehensive plan was passed, or are you speaking about in the zoning commission?
The zoning commission. I haven't got into the conference plan. Later.
Can you give some examples, Bruce, of what's been swept under
The conservation subdivision. We had 3 reviews on conservation subdivision that man gave us. I tried to discuss the negatives on that particular topic. And it didn't get done at that meeting. It got passed supposedly to the next meeting, which never happened. I believe Ernie had a few statements on that also, but he never got answered. And that's just one example. So.
Yeah, but can I say something?
Yes, you can, I'll call on you.
Okay. Are you calling on me now or?
Yes, I am.
Okay. About that, we had a discussion about that and we had a vote, Bruce. and everybody got a chance to vote. So I don't understand why you're saying that was swept under the rug. And in fact, Ernie voted for it.
Right.
So we voted on it, so I don't consider that sweeping it under the rug.
We didn't discuss the negative parts of it. When I get the one meeting, it was passed on to the next meeting, and then it was just kind of jumped over, so. Your
Well-
opinion, my opinion, my opinion.
Let's not have back and forth here. Michelle, continue.
I'm just gonna say, I just disagree with that. I think just because, we didn't agree with what your points were, it doesn't mean we were sweeping under the rug.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak?
Yeah. I think that, I agree that we've done an enormous amount of due diligence here and trying to follow, the road that we were set out on, which was to formulate the zoning law. The zoning law, as it turns out, as we can all well see, there's a lot of different laws. There is a site plan review law, there is a wetland preservation law, there are slope. All kinds of different regulations within this, the zoning part, the part where you actually draw lines around things. It's just one part of it, and it's perhaps the glue that holds the rest of these regulations together. But I think it's the one part of the regulations that has always been troublesome, has been troublesome for me from the beginning, and it remains troublesome for me now. And although I will vote to support passing this resolution to give this to the town to enact, I think that the town was remiss in not looking at all of these different regulations as separate pieces that need not necessarily all follow together in concert, and instead just jumping right to the zoning law, this so-called, one that rules them all. And I think that has perhaps been something that, we're too far beyond that to correct it. So that's where I stand.
Thank you. Barb?
I'm just looking at the document that's adopting zoning for the first time. There are 7 steps that are outlined. Step 1 is creation of the zoning commission. That was completed. Step 2 is performance of the zoning commission. We have performed, and public participation and final report. That's what we're aiming to do with the preliminary report, the public hearings, and then we'll issue a final report. Step 3 is compliance with the comprehensive plan. And that is outlined in the 6 or 7 or 8 or so pages in the preliminary report. Step 4 is performance of the local governing board, notice and public hearing. That's the role of the town board to come. Step 5 is referral by the local governing board to the county planning agency or regional planning council, which is again what the town board has to do. Step 6 is enactment procedures, voting and entry into the minutes, which is again a role for the town board. And step 7 is publication, posting, filing, and effective date, which again is a role for the town board. So it seems to me that the steps of this adopting zoning for the first time document that pertain to the zoning commission have been fulfilled almost in total. Still to be held are the 2 public hearings, and the final report to be issued to the town board.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, can I say something now?
Yes?
Okay, Tim's exact word with regard by the word follow. Page 2. Just above the first step. The publication discussed each of these steps in some detail, but the Department of State strongly recommends early consultation with a municipal attorney for for legal advice related to the adoption of the zoning regulations. I asked the board if we would do that. A couple of us, I think maybe half of us said yes, a couple of different times, and then it was stated to us that no, it wasn't gonna happen, and the town board told us we couldn't consult the town lawyer without talking to them, which is wrong, because we are appointed by the town board, we can discuss things with the town lawyer whenever we see fit. It also says on the third page, I mean, there's multiple things in here, but I'll go with just a couple. Appointment of the zoning commission, separate from the planning board. If a planning board already exists, the new zoning commission should contain at least one member of the planning board. Not the whole planning board.
It says at
You
least,
know, it says, if you look at the state, the paragraph right above that, it says. Appointment of a zoning commission composed of the already existing planning board or.
Right,
An appointment of a zoning commission separate from the planning board that should contain at least one member of the planning board.
right, okay. But this, like I
Exactly.
said, there's a bunch more to it. I don't need to go into it, but all I'm saying is that. Due diligence and the way this whole procedure has gone down the road from the beginning. There are multiple mistakes, there are multiple things that went on. It can go on like when people stepped down from the zoning commission and we didn't put more people on. That just points to me a bad taste. Also, how that happened. One of our zoning commission members was pretty much chased off the board because she was accused of being unethical when she wasn't unethical. Like I said, there's just too many things like that that have happened, and it's all in record, it's all documented, it's all done. And sorry I did read that, but there are multiple things in here that we should have been doing that we just quite didn't do what we should have done.
Bruce, I'm going to speak now. And then I'm gonna call a question, or ask someone to call a question. There are one or two things that you brought up from time to time, and I think we have discussed them, and I think we have voted on them. I absolutely disagree with you that anyone was chased off. I reached out to that person. I asked her to reconsider. She was not at all clear about why. She said it was about her health, which is what she said to me. So, I can't let that just slide by. And, I also very, clearly asked all of you, if you had a problem with this document, to let me know. If there was something in it that you were going to vote, why you would vote against, and you never did that. So, I'm perturbed by that. I am going to vote for this evening, and here are the reasons. I think we have worked incredibly well together over 2 years to get this done. And what we were asked to do by the board was to examine the local conditions, recommend the boundaries of the zoning districts, and make appropriate regulations to be enforced. Gather public input. We have done that. We are now going to make a preliminary report. Therefore, I am moving this. Is there any further discussion? It's been seconded.
Call the question.
Thank you. The question is being called. Is everyone in favor of calling the question?
Yes.
Yes,
All in favor. I'm going to do this by roll call. Myself, I'm going to vote aye. Ernie Bale, Michelle Brown,
aye.
Barbara Knuth,
Aye.
Bruce Murray,
No.
Bill Podolka is excused. This passes. With that, what we now have to do is the following. We have to schedule those meetings. We have to put out these public notices. Notes have to be sent, or letters have to be sent to all of our adjoining towns to let them know that this is happening. This has to be published in the Ithaca Journal. We have plenty of time to do that because it only has to be published 10 days in advance. Yep,
We got 3 weeks, I mean, there's 3 weeks between tomorrow and, whenever,
The 22nd.
It's gonna get delayed with waiting for something to get posted in the paper and whatnot. I mean, I think we really ought to put it off so there's at least 3 weeks when people really know that this is going to happen.
This is gonna be up on the town website. At least, I hope by tomorrow, if not by Thursday morning.
Everyone will be in the paper.
It will be in the paper as soon as it can be. It has to be within 10 days, but it will be as soon as it can be, and I don't know how, but that
2 or
is
3 days.
2 or 3 days to get there. And when it goes on the website, that notice also goes out to everyone who is listed on the town. What do you call that? The listserv, and also I will put it in the Brooktondale listserv as well. So, I actually think both of those things are read much more judiciously than the public notices in the newspaper. So those will be up as soon as we can possibly get them up.
Jean, I have a question.
Yep,
Is it worth, or can you also put it in the Ithaca Voice?
that's up to the town. Let me, but I see the town supervisor writing that down.
No, I was writing something else down.
Okay, so I'm assuming, I don't know how the Ithaca Voice, I don't think the Ithaca Voice really has public notices in the same way. We could
Okay.
perhaps do press releases to places. Ernie, not, excuse me, not Ernie, Bruce.
I just want to state for the record that I didn't let you know because I didn't know where I was at that point in time either, and I really haven't gone completely through the document. And then when I reread the zoning for the first time and the document that's with that, I forget what it was called. Once I read those two again and thought about it, I thought more about it before I
Okay.
came to a conclusion.
Well, thank you for that explanation, because I have to say, it's sure.
I would like to clarify the
Yes.
point about the town attorney. The zoning commission was perfectly free to consult the town attorney through the chair. And I clarified that, and so that's just a straightforward town process, so. Just want to make that very clear.
And that was made clear during the commission meeting, Mark.
Okay.
Well, I was confronted once before that when I discussed it with the town attorney. That's why I said that.
I think we had a discussion, you had a discussion with the town attorney, and what I've done since then is forward him, for instance, a notice of the public hearing to make sure that that's absolutely legal. And this is what he had sent me, and I have just added in all of the stuff in that final paragraph about what's in the document, because they want to, and several of you proofed that up. So are you all happy with this legal notice?
I'm happy with it.
Excellent. I will, tonight, make sure these get off to you, with any changes that, you know, the dates in them, et cetera. I have looked at them 1,000 times to make sure that I have Brooktondale in the right place and Sladeville Springs in the right place. And, but as you all know, no one can get their own work, can edit their own work. So let's just now.
Tim has
then-
raised his hand.
Excuse me?
Tim has raised.
Oh,
his
Tim, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
I was just going to suggest that I think that the Tompkins Weekly publishes public notices. We might look at that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Should that be fire hall?
Yes, it should be Fire Hall. Oh, let me check.
Or
Is it the Brookendale Fire Station or Fire Hall?
On Valley Road.
I would say station, but I don't know.
I think I looked it up online and it said
Oh,
Fire
okay.
Station.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you. So,
no, Nan.
man,
Yes, I'm just wondering if you could direct me to where on the website the task force report is, so I can get the link. I can't seem to find it.
If you look under committees, task force should be there. It should be listed among the committees.
Okay, all right, land use, okay. Ah, got it, thank you.
Okay, you're
okay.
welcome.
So let's just talk about the public hearing. So Mark has the information to get signs made, because Bill sent it to you and to me. So Mark will get signs made and we can get those up as well. We will get this out into the public hearing as soon as we absolutely can, you know, getting it off to those papers tomorrow for their publications. We will get this on the website. I've already notified Mike that he has to make some very nice box on the page so that it's quite clear what it is. And Nan will send the incomplete thing to me as soon as she finishes it and inserts the law into the report. And then we'll get that off to Mike. The public hearings will be thus. So this one will, the one that's held here will be joint. I'm hoping that we will actually probably sit back there and clear this table out, so we'll have more chairs. Because the number of people that can be in this room is theoretically 75. And I think that that's the only way that that's physically possible. We will not respond. I understand that we are allowed to respond if someone says something that we believe is categorically untrue. However, I'm not sure that that's useful. I also think that we have the ability to respond later, because we're going to hear what people have to say, read what people send in, and then respond later.
But we're not committing to respond to every comment received. correct?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No,
To be clear.
no, we are not. But we could if we want to say something in particular about something. We have the ability to do that or not. And then so we'll come together. I don't see any point in meeting on the 21st because we're not going to have a meeting until the 22nd and the 28th, and therefore we can't meet on the 28th. So I'm going to send out a thing about perhaps meeting on like the 30th or the following Tuesday.
There is no 30th.
There's nothing. Let's 30th.
It's February, Gene.
Yeah, I want the 30th. And I'm trying to cram in as many days as humanly possible. March 2nd, I think that would be. Or the following Tuesday, whatever the hell it is. Discuss what we heard and if we feel there's something that we should change. In order to make a final report. Is there anything else that anyone wants to bring forth? What we will do at that meeting is people will come in. If they want to speak, they will put their name on a list. We will take the names in order. For this meeting, we will do the same thing that we've done in the past, where if there's 50 people in this room and 100 people online, we'll take 2 online and 1 here. If vice versa, we'll do it the other way, we'll do it in that kind of order. There's no privilege of the floor at a public hearing, it's just a public hearing. We've talked about having a 4-minute limit per person. And I think that's the absolute, as much as you can have per person. And we will try to do something like have a countdown, something if that's possible somewhere. Like have a, I understand you can do this from your phone and project it somewhere. I have utterly no idea how one does that, but I think that would be useful for everyone in the audience to see. Is there anything else? Oh, the Zoom can record. Well, the Zoom will record what's going on in the room in this meeting.
Mhm.
In the other meeting, do you want to have someone film it? What do you want to do? How are we going to take notes? So that's what we've done in the past, is have someone come and film.
Yeah, that
So
would be
that's a
nice.
recording. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. What we
Okay.
can get.
That sounds good.
And you don't have to have like a public recorder, as far as I know.
Okay.
As long as you have some kind of a record. What else? I would very much like to have a sheriff in the room. And the reason is I just want to prevent any possible disorder. Because this is critical that it occur. And I know we talked about this before, and there were mixed feelings about that, and I'm willing to vote on that. So I move that we have a sheriff in the room at both of these. Does anyone want to second that? Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays?
Staying.
I have one abstention.
Yeah, I will too.
I have two abstentions. I have 3 ayes and 2 abstentions. I have no other idea if that can pass if I need 4 actual votes.
No,
That's fine? Okay,
You don't need 4 yes votes.
You need a majority.
you generally need a majority of the board, so we will ask the attorney tomorrow.
Nobody needs to have a commission vote on it as far as I'm concerned. It's like anybody, you know, has the right to ask for police presence, whether or not they're going to supply a question, but,
Okay, I will, thank you. I will let you know how that goes.
Jean,
Yeah,
I mean, I would think this would be an administrative decision by you as chair. I'm not sure why it would require a vote necessarily.
okay, I will, I'll get back to all of you by email. My concern is I don't think that there will be anything that goes wrong, but if something went wrong, I would feel utterly awful afterwards.
I think if it makes you comfortable, I'll continue my vote, no problem.
Thank you. That's very nice, kind of you. Okay. It will make me feel much more comfortable. It's been a bad year. With that, is there anything else?
Jean? Sorry, can you just, which meeting is going to be on Zoom and which one is in person?
The one in this room, which will be on
22nd.
the 22nd.
Okay.
It's a Zoom and in person, but it's a joint meeting.
Yeah.
I can't call it.
Okay,
And then the one on the 28th will be, and I'm holding those both at 6 o'clock at night till 9 o'clock at night.
all
And
right, so the one on the 28th is just in person.
yes, because the setup is so difficult and I'm afraid to say that it will work and then it might not work. And then we would have a problem. So-
And people can submit written comments.
Yes.
There's no limitation really, so.
Right. So, and this also says if someone requires impaired assistance, they just have to tell the town clerk 48 hours in advance, which means a sign language interpreter, happily, I know a sign language interpreter should we need one. I don't know, anything else like that. So,
Okay.
okay,
Jean, one more thing.
sure.
I'm looking at it's long, so I haven't read the whole thing. The legal notice that you sent this afternoon.
Yeah.
You have in here that written comments may be made by sending the statement to the clerk, but you don't have, do you have a date in there when written comments will be accepted until?
That is a very good idea. And let's say until the 28th. Is that good?
Okay, so that should be sure that gets put in, you know, the legal notice that goes in the paper and to the adjacent municipalities.
Okay, I will make sure that happens. Okay, thank you. Good plan. Yep.
I'll let you, Michelle, know by the end of this coming week whether I can get the 22nd.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mark.
I just want to, voice my appreciation for all of the hard work that you all have done. Anything I say, it will be an understatement. I know how diligently you've poured over this. The decisions are difficult, but you've done it very attentively to all of the charters that were established to guide the development of this plan in a constructive way. Paying attention to the conditions in the town and hearing public comment. I think you've been extremely responsive to the sentiments, a lot of the sentiments and concerns that have been raised. Nan, I also want to thank you for the assistance you've provided. I just think it's been excellent and a very steady hand. And so with that, I just want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate all the work you've done. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Tim?
I will second that and save a longer statement for another meeting down the road.
Thank you very much. I want to also express my thanks to all the members of the commission and very much to Nan, who has been wise and knowledgeable and always available. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a long 23 months. And I had suggested that we might have time off in March, but clearly I'm wrong. So, but maybe the end of March, you never know. So I will tell you that at one time I had been running an organization for a year, and I said to my husband, you know, the wonderful thing about this is when it's over, I won't have anything to do. I could either take up golf or have an affair. And he said, oh, have an affair, it's so much safer. And with that, I'm calling that we adjourn at 8:45. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
And yet I took up golf. And I want you to know that my handicap is 35.